Offenbach.
Save this green shine for something special. Looks like a landscape. Scary red person. Can't override that machine. But I could learn if there's a cauldron out here. Something's up. scavengers. Native said I could find a metal panel in one of their scrap piles. Could set that machine on fire. You're on guard for now. No metal panel. Better check another scrap pile. the scrap piles for a metal pin. I can grab this from my stash later. I think I have everything I need for Mildev. Good thing, too. I can use a decent meal.
Don't put up with all that hardship talking.
Put up with yours. Want to trade? You'll find me here.
pack's full, but my stash has room.
are. I happen to receive another visit from Olvin himself. He was pushy, but I stood my ground. And dare I say it, I even got my own back. Yes, I did.
I'm listening.
When I made his meal, I used 3 pinches of salt. Instead of 2.
Each journey begins with a single step, I guess. I think I have everything you asked for.
Then just as you have inspired me, let us see if I can return the favor. Time to cook.
Wow. Mildif, that was inspired.
Next time you want the best provisions, you know where to find me. And your next order of any dish will be on the house.
Thanks. And don't forget to stand up for yourself.
Funny you should say that. As it happens, I'm already cooking up my next portion of resistance. Hope to see you again.
That's right. Summer's gonna get me too.
She cleared out those machines. She's all right by me.
Almost ready to go? Yeah.
That'll keep you going on your travels.
How goes it, Hammerhead? And I gotta show. It takes to get a drink around here. Yeah. Hey. Not like the stuff we used to get. Drop him. That was
Tasty and filling. Guaranteed.
And they still sold the contents of the vat you fell into. Woo!
Might be a good idea to stock up on some food before I...
Back for that free meal? Go on, peruse my menu. For you, my very best.
As I was saying.
To the play! As Hammer strikes...
Thanks for you. Going back to Main Street.
Hey, Ray.
Change your mind about that?
To revel in some strike, sister? Let me set the board.
I was just passing by.
First timer, huh? Don't worry about it. I'll go easy on you. You got any pieces?
No.
Well, aren't you in luck then? I got an extra set, a Tanakh original straight out of the Forbidden West. Sit. I'll run you through it in a hot spark. I'll give you something special if you win it on my boards, too. All right, let's start off simple. The Tanakh like to say that Machine Strike is a game of pure strategy. We each get a set of pieces. Each piece represents a kind of machine, and each machine is worth a different number of victory points. And to win the game, you'll need to gain 7 victory points by destroying the opponent's machines. It can be tricky remembering the details of every machine, so we use these notes to keep track of them. You see that number on the top right corner? That there is how many victory points you'll get for destroying that machine. Notes also tell you how far how powerful their attacks are, the distance they can strike from, and of course, their health. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's just play. I'll explain the rest as we go. I own the board, so I get to choose who goes first. Since this is your first time, I'll let you go. Usually you get to choose which pieces to set on the board, but this will do for now. Pick up that machine piece to your... And remember, each machine can only move a certain distance. Take a look at your notes if you need a reminder. Move that machine forward. It's all part of the learning process. Just need to, move that machine forward. Easy enough, huh? Now, you get to move 2 machines each round. Perfect. There's not much else to do for now, so just end your turn. We're forging onwards. Let me move my pieces here. And we're back to you. This time, why don't you try attacking one of my pieces? Try with that machine on your right first. Now move the piece close enough. When performing an attack, you'll be testing your machine's combat power and its own attack power. This board only has, and your, so in total, and just, so this means, did you? Knew you were a smart one. Finish up by attacking my machine. Not pulling any punches, huh? Now grab that second machine of yours. See how your machine can't move close enough to attack mine? You can make your machine. Try sprinting up to one of my machines. If you sprint, you'll be able to reach my... Go ahead, just sprint over to my machine. Try sprinting up to one of my machines. Go ahead, just... Downside to sprinting is that your machine can no longer attack. Now, some players like to take a risk. You're gonna have to overcharge that machine to land a hit on mine. That's about it for your turn, then. Now, I'll let you in on a neat trick. That machine of yours, the one closest to me, grab a hold of it. Same as in the wilds, machines have both armored points and weak points. You can see them marked on the pieces. Blue shows where their armor is thickest. Hit them there, and you'll do some damage, but not a lot. Now, red shows the machine's weak points. Hit those. Here, let me show you. Rotate that machine so it faces mine. Now let that machine have. Off the board she goes, and there's your first victory points. You don't have 7 of them yet, so let's keep going. Your machine attacked mine, but hasn't moved yet. Go ahead and move downwards towards my remaining piece. You've already attacked a machine and moved your piece. But you're still getting the hang of it, I know. Now, overcharge. Ain't that a thrill? Now, because your machine was knocked out at the same time as mine, we both get the victory. Good news is, since you're gonna receive your, which that's why now. But just remember to always check for the best terrain to attack from. You'd be surprised the advantage you can gain over an opponent like that. I know it saved my behind in a game or two.
I'll try and remember that.
Oh, before I forget, these are all my spare pieces. I want the Savior of Meridian to have them. It's a small set to be sure, but it should be enough to get you in on any strike games you find out there. You might even fancy looking out for them strike carvers. They've got all kinds of unique pieces that can turn a game in your favor, though they'll need the right materials to craft you one. Or you might find them in the wilds if you're lucky. I know I've lost my fair share of pieces after a night of machine hunting or brew hopping. Oh, no need to thank me. Always a pleasure to help out new strike players. Now, if you feel like playing a real game, I've got plenty of other boards. I could even teach you a few more tricks.
Thanks.
Don't be a stranger.
To the claim. Bottoms up.
Oh, you want to play, Red? Ah, I knew I'd make a strike player out of you yet. How about this time I tell you how to use a board's terrain to your advantage? This one, knowing terrain, so here. Grab that piece to your left and move. Now let's take a look at your machine's combat power and the value it's at. It's also so my this. Go ahead. There you go. Now, choosing the right terrain doesn't just improve your it can also help defend your machines from attack. Grab your other piece and place it in front of my second machine. Since this means your machine's combat power adds up to 2 points. My machine can't use their attack powers since they're defending their position. But they have the higher ground. This means this means, when you go. See? When you break a machine's defenses, you can knock. Sure, both are, but knocking, not on, it would have, and if that's why there's still one. End your turn so we can get. End your turn, please. All right, as we've seen, the higher the terrain. However, this is what we. But this is marsh terrain. Land. It'll also here. Let me show. I just want to show you what happens. Just move. Your machine won't drown or anything. Move it to marsh terrain. See? All you can do now is wait for your next, or you can overcharge. You can still attack in, well, Here for more tips? Why don't I tell you a bit more about them? Each one is worth a certain number of setup points, and you can spend knowing what building an is. When it's the first, you can with how far. But let's talk about the different ways in which a machine attacks its opponents. In other words, it's if you can. So great. Now grab your other machine. Looks like we've got ourselves a gunner. This means they'll only hit lead, so we could just end your turn, okay? Let's go with this piece first. This is a ram-type machine. Attack an enemy with it, and it'll push the piece backwards. Like this. See, now my machine has taken over your machine's spot on the board. This is a great way to take the advantage away from your opponent if they have the higher ground. Looks like we have one more piece to look at. Now this is a beauty of a piece, a dash-type machine. When it attacks, it'll move to the end of its attack range and damage every machine in its path, including your own. So make sure you take a good, Look, it even rotated your piece. And if you'll know there, but here we go. Come up. You're up, Red. Armor is your best friend in this game, I'm telling you. Oh, bold choice. My turn. That's it for me. Now that was a game, even if I lost. You know where to find me, Red.
Back to work finally. Took you long enough, Savior.
Are you? No, my mistake.
Knew you couldn't resist come for that beer after all, eh? Here, sit down. Get a pint in her hand. Wasn't expecting you to swing by. Since when do I do what's expected? Ha! There's that spark. Fire and spit. Fire and spit. That's a blast from the bellows. Won't fix the forge, but at least I can forget about my troubles for a while. Like what? Well, things aren't as bad since you got this place running again. But we still got Olvin grating the gears about his concession decree. If you don't put that down, I'll come over there and show you how that game ends. Anyway, right now, I'm just worried about those refugees out from Sunfall. To come all this way enduring Forge knows what. Shadow Carja refugees. What are they doing in the Daunt? Looking for a new home, I gather. They're camped out by an old trailhead, southwest of here. And therein lies the problem. A Stormbird crashed up on the cliffs last week, and Talon Cleanbrokers had his eye on the salvage ever since. But the refugees have barred entrance. Mustn't interrupt their sun-scorched ritual. Something about finding a twilight path.
Huh. I never heard them talk about that before.
Yeah, well, these particular Shadow Karja are an odd bunch. But overall, they're peaceful folk. Not that it matters to Talland. He'll crack some heads to get to that salvage. Maybe you could swing by, convince him to set up camp somewhere else?
So the bristlebacks in the Daunt.
You're a pig. Blasted things, those bristlebacks. They just showed up one day, rampaging around the valley like they exploded out of a forge. Lost some good people. But bless the bellows, you cleared them out and got this place working again. That put a dent in Olvin's plans. Now, if only there was some way to smash them all together and run them out of town.
But how could bristlebacks in the Daunt help Olvind?
2 words. Concession decree. Since no one knows where the bristlebacks came from, Olvind has taken to blaming the Karja for them. He's hoping to dig up enough old resentments to get a strike going until the concession's signed. This is just his latest attempt. He's been trying to rile up the workers since the day he rolled into town.
About that, I think the bristlebacks came out of Olvin's old mine.
Now there's a spark that could light a fire. Can you prove it?
I'm working on it.
By the forge. Grab my ear if you nail it down.
I thought you'd be back in Freeheap.
Well, after the big battle at Meridian, I went back. But realized it was running smooth. Didn't need me. Heard about the rebuilding out at Barren Light. Figured they could use another hammer. Been scraping by ever since.
You could always leave.
And go back east? Nah. I ain't one to leave a lit forge. Besides, someone's gotta be a squeaky wheel for the workers around here.
What else can you tell me about the Shadow Karja refugees?
Well, they don't call themselves Shadow Karja for one. At least, not anymore. They're some other brand of sun-crazed. But whatever side of the sun they're on, they're peaceful through and through. Don't seem to want for nothing except a place to live, pray, and just enough food to keep from starving.
So they're just camped outside by a trail, blocking entry to a wrecked Stormbird, waiting for... what, exactly?
Don't rightly know, but I'll tell you this. Should they ever wise up and salvage it, a Stormbird heart is worth a lot. And if they get there first, then by Ostrom law, it's theirs. Not that Tolan Cleanbrokers ever lost sleep over any law-breaking.
Who is this Talland Cleanbroker?
Just some chuff-huffing pondsman. Got a shop here in town. Lived in Chainscrape since there was a Chainscrape. He and Ulvin go back a ways. Like a pair of coals and a campfire, those two.
So Talland works for Ulvin?
Ha! Ulvin might think so, but Talland scrapes up his own scams. And he ain't the type to let a few refugees get between him and Stormbird salvage.
So about Ulvind.
Around here, everything's about Ulvind.
How'd he end up in charge?
He got here early, like a squirrel smelling a fat nut. He knew rebuilding Barren Light would need stone and timber. So he jangled purses all over Mainspring, getting investors to front claims on anything in the Daunt that might be worth a damn. Thing is, all the bankers back home know that this is Karja land, and the Sun King can revoke those claims at any time. That's why he's desperate for the magistrate to sign off on a concession decree.
This concession decree, what is it exactly? And how would it help Ulvind?
It's pig diddle, that's what.
A writ that would put all Osram claims in the Daunt under Osram law, even though they're on Karja land. It would mean that any existing ore, stone, and timber claims couldn't be revoked by the Karja. No more risk, no more hesitation for investors back in the claim to pour in the shards and expand their business. And since Olvind has a stake in all those claims, it would make him richer than a scrapper in a junk heap. Not to mention Chainscrape would become an Osra municipality, so he could buy enough votes to call himself an elderman. He's a sly old badger, I'll give him that. Figures if he keeps up the pressure, eventually the magistrate will sign.
Well, if I'm up that way, I'll talk to the refugees. Try to convince them to move.
Much appreciated. They have it rough. Don't need Talon making it rougher.
Petra said Talon has a shop here in Chainscrape.
It's a Tanakh game.
I could have a word with him for...
I can enjoy it.
Why else would one leave the glory of Main Street?